I hate long intros. Y'all read the title, so let's get right into it. Today we'll be reacting to an article from Ben Cotton, and this one is actually from Fox Sports. Y'all know usually we do the Bleacher Report articles by the guy Andy Bailey. So today we got someone new, so I'm very interested to hear what he has to say. One thing I do want to note is this article says February 9th is the trade deadline, according to AEDT. If you're in the United States, the trade deadline is on February 8th, which is a Thursday. I'm assuming this guy's from Australia, considering the top pick is Josh Giddey. Anyways, let's get into it. He has the first trade is the Atlanta Hawks with a monster deal right off the bat. He has them receiving Jonathan Kuminga and that large Andrew Wiggins contract for Clint Capella, AJ Griffin, and a second-round pick. Right off the bat, I'd say I don't know if this is something that Warriors fans love. Because if you're not aware, Jonathan Kuminga has been hooping of late. Let me look his stats up real quick right here. But I know he's been shooting like 60-something% over the last week. Real quick on the season, he's averaging 15 points a game on 53%, 33% from three. So not great numbers from three. But if you do go to his last, I guess let's go since the beginning of January, even just to get his numbers on 2024 as a whole. So a bit of a large sample size here. Kuminga's averaging 21 points a night on 58% from the field, 41% from three. You can see those numbers are crazy for quite a decent sample size there. But the reason the Warriors would do this trade is to get off of Andrew Wiggins' contract. Now, Wiggins' production has essentially fell off a cliff. And as you can see right here, the guy got 4 years left on his deal, making over $24 million, even gets up to as high as $30 million in the last year, which is that player option, which you got to think that Andrew Wiggins is going to take, especially considering his numbers this year are just, where's he at, 12 points per game. That's a whole 5 points down from where he was the last couple seasons. Obviously was the all-star starter 2 seasons ago, and he's only shooting 43% from the field, 31% from three. I don't know exactly what happened with Wiggins. I do know there was some personal stuff going on there. Don't know if that relates to it, so I don't want to be too hard on him. But obviously his production has fell off a cliff. And with that money, you could make an argument it's one of the worst trades in the entire league. And obviously the Golden State Warriors want to win right now. Who knows how many years they have left in Steph Curry's window. They can't afford to just sit idle and be as bad as they are, really, because I think there's still a couple games under 500. So they're essentially giving up on Jonathan Kuminga to get off of Andrew Wiggins' contract, and in return, they're getting a very nice big man, which is something that I think they've needed for a while now. Obviously, they have Kevon Looney. Clint Capella is a similar type player. AJ Griffin's actually had his moments in the league as well. So this is essentially just something to shake it up for the Warriors. But I don't believe this necessarily makes them better, right? Because we know Kuminga is a better player than Clint Capella. I know he had his issues with Steve Kerr, but they've seemed to move on from past that. So this is really just a trade to kind of shake it up for the Warriors. Maybe that gives them some more ammo to make a trade, since they could argue Clint Capella is more tradable down the line, maybe next year in the offseason. I don't really know. Actually, I do want to check on Clint Capella's contract. Maybe he isn't expiring, which if that is the case, that would mean they could get off a ton of money. But no, Clint Capella still makes another $20 million next year. But because he'd be expiring, that means he would be a more tradable asset next year. So overall, this is a fine trade. I do love it for the Hawks, though. They get younger. Maybe Wiggins gets revitalized in a new situation. And that team, of course, also needs to shake it up. And I think Kuminga and Wiggins, two kind of wings that could play a little bit of defense and score, I think they would help that team very well. So I probably do like this for the Hawks more than the Warriors. We have the Boston Celtics. Damn. They're receiving Alex Caruso in the second-round pick for Peyton Pritchard, Svi Mikhailuk, and 2 first-round picks. That is about the asking price that the Bulls are asking for Caruso. They'd be able to get it from the Celtics. I don't know how the hell the Celtics have 2 first-round picks. The Celtics make 100 trades every year. They get Porzingis, they get Drew Holiday, and they still got all these picks. Meanwhile, Miami Heat is sitting here with Terry Rozier and Tyler Hero, and they got no assets. I don't get it. This trade will be scary for the Boston Celtics, and the Bulls get good value. I think this is a win-win. The Brooklyn Nets, they get DeJounte Murray, probably the hottest name at this trade deadline. And in return, the Hawks will be receiving Dinwiddie and 2 first-round picks. Not terrible value for the Hawks. They just traded essentially 3 first-round picks for DeJounte Murray last offseason, or 2 offseasons ago. So they're able to recoup a little bit of that. And from the Nets' perspective, they're kind of on the borderline whether they want to buy in with this current core or if they want to sell off. They haven't really been able to capture the magic of last season's team after trading KD and Kyrie. They've been kind of mid to below mid, but this trade is kind of helping, or I guess they'd kind of hope would put them in the next tier, and they would have a really nice starting lineup with Cam Johnson, with Mikal Bridges, with DeJounte Murray, Nick Claxton maybe, Dorian Finney-Smith. It's tough to say because a lot of those names I just mentioned are potentially also on the trading block for the Nets, and I do expect to get into some of them as we continue this article. Now for the Hawks, they kind of have to, I don't want to say blow it up because blow it up would mean trade Trae Young, but it's obvious the DeJounte Murray experiment isn't working. They're not as good as they would have hoped, so that's kind of why we've heard all these rumors of them wanting to move on from him. The fit doesn't seem great. And like I said earlier, they can recoup most of the value they got for him. So it's sort of just like hitting the undo button. This is a fine trade for them. But I do like it for the Nets. Doesn't make them contenders, but it does make them a little bit better. The Charlotte Hornets, they're getting Davis Bertans in the first-round pick, which means that the OKC Thunder must finally be getting rid of him. And they are getting PJ Washington in return. The Thunder are a team that I would love to see make a move because they are so good, so young, so talented, literally the number one seed, I believe, at the time of this recording, and they have the most assets in the NBA. I think they'd be crazy not to make a move, especially when they have Davis Bertans, who has a huge contract. That's why they'd be attaching a first-round pick to get rid of it, and in return, they'd be getting PJ Washington. Now, I do like PJ Washington, and I like his fit on the Thunder because he's a 4, right? Now, he wouldn't start on that team. They got Jalen Williams, who's been hooping, but I do think they could use a backup 4. The thing is, though, I would prefer, if the Thunder make a trade, I would prefer to see them make a trade to get more actual size or more veteran leadership. Not that they need it, but some vets with more experience can't hurt. PJ Washington is still young, and he's only 6'7". So although he's a very good power forward, he really doesn't add the size that I think they should be looking for. And he's obviously young, so he doesn't get that veteran leadership either. But maybe they're a team that's in the market to make a few trades, or maybe they hold off until next year. They got like 13 first-round picks this draft. They'll still have like double-digit picks next draft, I'm sure. So they'll be able to make some move for some years to come. If they want to ride this season out, see how it goes, I don't see any reason they can't be just as good, if not better, next season. And then maybe that's when they off-haul a lot of those assets to get a better piece if nothing's available right now. But overall, I do like this trade for the Thunder. And for the Hornets, you get a first-round pick for PJ Washington. Why would the Hornets want to get rid of PJ Washington? I never really understood that. He's been a guy who's we've heard in trade rumors for a while now. I feel like he fits their timeline well. I feel like he fits that starting lineup well. Maybe it's because they value Miles Bridges as that starting 4. But I hate Miles Bridges, and he should be in jail. So, but it's a fine trade for the Hornets. The Chicago Bulls, they're getting Evan Fournier, Quentin Grimes, a first and a second-round pick for DeMar DeRozan. If that is the value that DeMar DeRozan goes for, the Miami Heat better snag that man. They better do it. Because, I mean, it doesn't surprise me that that's the value. DeMar's a little bit older, and I do know he's on an expiring contract, so it's the risk that it's just a rental for the team that receives him. But I still think he's an amazing player. He was just kind of toiling away in Chicago because they're not that good. Now, I know DeMar has his deficiencies in the playoffs, but when you put him on a team like the Knicks, who has Jalen Brunson, who's an amazing playoff performer, can't say Julius Randle because he also seems to, the lights are too bright for him in the playoffs, but obviously DeMar wouldn't be the guy in New York, so I actually do love his fit there a lot. And if you're talking about a big three, big three, using that term loosely, but a core of Brunson and DeMar and Randle, you got OG Anunoby at the 4 spot. That team would be nice. That team would be very, very nice. And from the Bulls, while it's not a lot of value for DeMar DeRozan, considering what they gave up, I think they sign him in free agency. But either way, DeMar is a great player. 1 first-round pick is not a ton, but they have to make a move. And there's been a lot of rumors they might not make a move because they haven't made a move in years, right? But they need to blow it up, especially with Zach LaVine being out the rest of the season. So any trade the Bulls make this deadline, I'll call a win. We have the Hawks receiving Karis LeVert and 2 second-round picks, and the Cavaliers receive DeAndre Hunter. A little bit of a defensive wing for offensive wing swap. I don't know why the Hawks would want the offensive wing. You'd think if they're trading DeJounte Murray and they got Trae Young at that 1 spot, they'd want a wing who could kind of pick up more on the defensive end, and that would be DeAndre Hunter. Uh, but overall, I don't really have many thoughts on this trade. I think DeAndre Hunter is a great player. I think Karis LeVert is great inconsistently, but this is just kind of an even trade in my opinion. We have the Dallas Mavericks receiving Kyle Kuzma and the Wizards receiving Grant Williams, Rashawn Holmes, Jaden Harvey, very nice young player, and a first-round pick. This is nice value for the Wizards, I think, because I do love Kyle Kuzma, a great rebounder, can stretch the floor, scores a lot, but I'm wondering if it's a little bit of a good stats, bad team kind of guy because he's not very efficient. So I think his value gets overrated a little bit, even though he is averaging like over 21 points per game. But it would be nice for the Mavericks because they're getting, I guess, more of a, I don't know. See, the thing is, I've always liked Grant Williams. He actually earned my respect with the whole Jimmy Butler situation in the playoffs last year. I'm not sure why the Mavericks have been trying to get rid of him ever since they got him. I'm not actually sure what his numbers are this season. Let me check that up real quick here. So this season, Grant Williams is averaging 8 points a night, 4 rebounds, 41% from the field, and 37% from three. So the 3-point numbers are good. Obviously, the field goal percentage is not great. So it doesn't look like he's having too good a season for them. And considering they just signed him, I guess they want to move on from him. So I do know he has long-term money. I'm sure that's not something the Wizards would want to take on. But if they're getting Jaden Hardy, who's a very nice young player, and a first-round pick, I think that's decent value for the Mavericks. And then maybe if Grant Williams starts picking up his game a little bit, maybe the Wizards could flip him down the line as well. So I do like the trade for the Wizards. The Mavericks, I guess they shake it up a little bit because they're not playing great. So I get why they do it, but I would say that the Wizards win this trade. Moving on, we got the Denver Nuggets receiving Quentin Grimes, and the Knicks receive Julian Strawther and a second-round pick. Zero thoughts on this deal. Quentin Grimes, a nice young player. Denver adds some help to their bench, whatever. The Detroit Pistons, they receive Kevin Huerter, Davion Mitchell in a first and second-round pick. The Kings get Bojan Bogdanovic and Killian Hayes. The Pistons better make a move this trade deadline, and it also better include trading Bojan Bogdanovic. He's too good a player to be just doing nothing except losing in Detroit. They could get some value for him. I don't know why they would wait any longer until it's too late, and I absolutely love his fit on the Sacramento Kings. Now, I also like Kevin Huerter's fit on the Kings. I mean, I'd argue that he's similar to Bojan Bogdanovic because they're essentially catch and shoot, 3-point shooters. But obviously, Bojan could play more of the 4. Kevin Huerter's more of a 2. So I guess this allows the Kings to start him at the 4 next to Sabonis and slide someone else into that 2-guard spot. But is the upgrade from Kevin Huerter to Bojan Bogdanovic? But see, then you got Keegan Murray too. Is Keegan Murray playing the 3? Is Bojan Bogdanovic playing the 3? Does that allow the Kings to put what's his name? I just forgot his name. Does that allow the Kings to put Malik Monk at the starting 2? I know he's been coming off the bench, but then what do you do about Harrison Barnes? The Kings, if they did a move like this, I think another move would follow because it does create a bit of a logjam. And I'm not sure that the upgrade from Kevin Huerter to Bojan Bogdanovic is worth a first and a second-round pick. Davion Mitchell's been a disappointment. I think he's just sort of more of a throw in here. I'm not sure I love this for the Kings, but I don't hate it because Bojan's a very good player. And for the Pistons, I do love it. They got a first-round pick for Bojan, moved on. Nice young player in Kevin Huerter. It's a decent trade for them. Got another trade with the Warriors. They're receiving Alex Caruso and Nikola Vucevic, but they're sending out Chris Paul, Terrence Jackson Davis, and 2 first-round picks. That's a lot of value. Terrence Jackson Davis has been playing very great for them as well. But again, if you're the Warriors, you don't care about your young future. You want to try to win right now. And the Bulls are still getting the 2 first-round picks they want for Caruso. The Warriors are also getting a big man that I've said they've needed, especially an offensive-minded one, which is something that team is. They're built around offense. You'd still have Draymond at the 4 to cover up a lot of the defensive stuff. And they'd be moving on from Chris Paul just a half a season after getting him. I guess that experiment didn't work out great, although Chris Paul hasn't been bad. Obviously, the fit with Caruso and Vucevic is better. So, hey, I think this deal makes the Warriors a hell of a lot better. Excellent trade for them. And if the Bulls are receiving 2 first-round picks, they're able to shed Vucevic's contract. That's a plus for the Bulls, too. You know what? I love this trade for the Bulls as well. I think this one is a win-win. Wow, we have a monster deal. The Houston Rockets receiving Mikal Bridges. The Nets are getting Jalen Green, Tari Eason, Jacques Landale, and 3 firsts. So you remember earlier when I said the Nets might either buy in or they might sell? The previous trade had them getting DeJounte Murray. This one has them absolutely selling and getting a haul for Mikal Bridges. I think the Nets should sell because I don't think Mikal Bridges is a guy that could be around, you could build around. He can't be your number one. So if a deal is not out there to get the guy, I don't know if that'll be anytime soon. And if you can get 3 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges, you can kind of just go back to last year and say they traded KD and Kyrie for whatever other picks they got, plus another 3 first-round picks and Jalen Green, who obviously hasn't been great or lived up to that number 2 pick in the draft prospect, but he's still a nice young player with a lot of trade value too. This is an awesome trade for the Nets and an amazing trade for the Rockets. Helps fit their timeline, helps bridge the gap between the future and win now, and really improves a team that's already playing better than most people expected. I love this trade for both teams. The Indiana Pacers are taking that large Jeremy Grant contract, and the Pacers are receiving Buddy Hield, Benedict Mathurin, a first and a second round pick. Obviously, from the Pacers standpoint, you know they're going to trade Buddy Hield at some point, but I know they like Benedict Mathurin a lot as well. I don't know his exact position. He's either like a 2 or a 3, but the Pacers do have some other options there, right? They have obviously, what was I going to say? They have, what's the guy's name? Andrew Nembhard is the guy I was singing. They had some other guards too that I was thinking. I'm blanking off the top of my head. Let me see right here, the Pacers roster. Obviously Halliburton. Because that opens some more room for Obi Toppin. Aaron Nesmith is another one. Obviously T.J. McConnell. I don't know what they're going to do with him. But I know the Pacers have a bit of a logjam with players there. If they can get rid of a few guys and get someone in return who's even better, I do think that's a great trade for them. Considering they have Siakam, I'm assuming that they put Jeremy Grant at the 3. If that's the case, that squad is nice. You got Halliburton, insert starting 2, Jeremy Grant, Siakam, and Miles Turner. That team would be very nice. And if all it takes is a first-round pick, I think I love it. Now, Jeremy Grant does get paid a ton of money, but we know the Pacers aren't really a free agency destination. So they got to make deals, and I think I like this trade. I think that does make the Pacers slightly better than they are now. Contenders? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe next year when Halliburton obviously continues to improve. I like that trade a lot. We have the LA Clippers receiving P.J. Washington, and the Hornets getting P.J. Tucker, Mason Plumlee in a first-round pick. Similar deal to what we saw before. Hornets get the same value for P.J. Washington. Clippers get another guy that could play now instead of a couple guys who weren't. Obviously, Plumlee has been playing, but they got Zubac. They got, am I tripping saying Daniel Tice is on that team? Because I just went to Heat vs. Clippers, and I don't really remember seeing him. Daniel Tice is on the Clippers. So, the Clippers have other bigs. They don't necessarily need Mason Plumlee. It's a fine trade for both these teams. We have the Lakers receiving DeJounte Murray. Is this a 3-team deal? Oh, yeah, that's what the title said. The Lakers finally get DeJounte Murray. Hawks get Herb Jones, Jose Alvarado, 2 first-round picks. Wow, that's a lot of value. And the Pelicans receive D'Angelo Russell. So the Pelicans are trading Herb Jones and Jose Alvarado for D'Lo. I don't like that deal at all, actually. I don't know if the Pelicans do this to try to up their offense, but I feel like they got enough offense between Zion and Brandon Ingram. Those guys aren't having their best seasons, but I think they could be better than what they've shown this season. I don't like this trade for the Pelicans. That's incredible value for the Hawks, though. Yeah, I love that value for the Hawks. They get another defender, could go ahead and play alongside Trae Young, help him out on that side of the ball, and 2 first-round picks. Great trade for the Lakers, too, giving up D'Lo and 2 first-round picks. I do think DeJounte Murray is a very nice upgrade over D'Angelo Russell. So love this trade for the Lakers, love for the Hawks. The Pelicans, not so much. We have the Memphis Grizzlies getting Jonathan Isaac and 2 first-round picks for Luke Kennard. Irrelevant trade. We're moving on. We have the Miami Heat receiving Alex Caruso, and the Bulls receive Josh Richardson, Nikola Jovic, and a first-round pick. Wow. See, I actually saw this trade prior. I saw it on Twitter. Shout out to Drew Starr. He posted the clip of this. And when I first read the trade, I was like, you know what? I love that trade. I would definitely do it. But now that as I'm looking at it, I don't know if I love it. The reason being, you only have 2 assets left if you're the Miami Heat. It's Nikola Jovic and a first-round pick. I would not be afraid to cash in those because things aren't working right now, and I want to win right now, meaning this season. So I'd be willing to cash in all of our assets to get someone better. I don't know if I'm ready to cash it in for Alex Caruso, especially when maybe I'm ignorant, but I'm not sure the upgrade from Josh Richardson to Alex Caruso is worth giving up the rest of your assets. Because if you do this deal and it doesn't work, you are officially screwed for this season, likely next season, and who knows after that. A lot of Heat fans have been hating on Josh Richardson. I think it's undeserved. I think he's been fine, especially considering he's a minimum contract player. He's been fine defensively, although not as good as he once was, years ago. And he's been fine offensively. The numbers aren't great, but he can hit the mid-range shot. He can hit the three. He's been fine. I think if you were going to do a deal for Alex Caruso, I'd much rather make it a larger deal and get rid of Tyler Hero, maybe try to get Vucevic in return. I think that's the route I would go. So I don't love this trade if I'm the Miami Heat. But for the Bulls, this is nice value because Nikola Jovic is an excellent prospect and they get a first-round pick. The Milwaukee Bucks, they're getting Matisse Thybulle, and the Trailblazers are getting Pat Connaughton back, AJ Green, and a second-round pick. Well, the Milwaukee Bucks certainly need some defense because ever since getting Damian Lillard, they have sucked on that side of the ball. So this helps them a little bit. But truthfully, Tease is not that great a player anymore. The package the Trailblazers are receiving is not really relevant. So we'll move on. The Minnesota Timberwolves are getting Monty Morris. That's a guy that I really love for the Heat. And the Pistons are getting Shake Milton and Troy Brown Jr. I don't know why the Pistons would be doing any sort of trade where they don't get any picks. I mean, I want to see them make deals because I want to see them get more assets. Shake Milton and Troy Brown Jr. are not young. They're not getting any assets in this deal. I don't know why the hell they would do this. From the Timberwolves, it's a great deal because Monty Morris is the best player in this trade. I love it from the Wolves. Don't know why the hell the Pistons would do it. The Pelicans getting Tyus Jones, another guy that I love for the Heat. And the Wizards receiving Larry Nance Jr., Jose Alvarado, and a first-round pick. I'm wondering if the Wizards can get 2 first-round picks for Tyus Jones because he's having a hell of a season. Like 7 assists per game, 1 turnover, very efficient from the field and from 3. This isn't great value for him, but a year ago, they might have been lucky to get a first-round pick maybe. So the fact they still are able to get that, it's fine value. And from the Pelicans trade, I do love this because they got to make some sort of move to shake it up. And they got an actual facilitating point guard that can help their other scores, like I was saying before, because if I was a Pelicans fan, I wouldn't be ready to give up on Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson. I think that core can win together. I just think they're not playing as great as they've shown. So for this trade, I do love it for the Pelicans. For the Wizards, it's fine value. The New York Knicks getting Bruce Brown for a first-round pick and shedding Evan Fournier's contract. This is a deal the Knicks would want to do if they want to go all in. Is this enough to put them over the top? Bruce Brown? I don't think so. But the Knicks have like 6 tradable firsts or something like that. If you want to use one of them to improve slightly, it's not a bad trade for the Knicks. And the Raptors getting a first-round pick for a guy they just adds more value to that. Was it the OG Anunoby trade that they got him in? I don't remember, but it's nice value for the Raptors. So this is a fine trade for both sides. The Oklahoma City Thunder getting some size with Nick Claxton and the Nets receiving Davis Bertans and 2 first-round picks. I love this deal if I'm the Oklahoma City Thunder. You got the first-round picks, use them. Is Claxton worth 2 first-round picks? Likely not. But you got 100 of them. You might as well move them. Now, Nick Claxton is still very young. I know that's the issue I had with PJ Washington when I was talking about him earlier. But Nick Claxton is a lot bigger than PJ Washington, I believe. Sometimes I'd be tripping and the guy's not actually as big as I think they are. Pause. Wow, that was wild. But yeah, Claxton is 6'11". So obviously that's a lot taller than PJ Washington, who was 6'7". So I do like this trade for them. Would he start? I don't know. Now, Nick Claxton is very young. He's 24. He's going to be up for an extension or new contract soon. Would he want to re-sign there if he's coming off the bench? Probably not. But if you start Shea, do you put Dort at the 2, Jalen Williams at the 3, and then Holmgren at the 4, Claxton at the 5? I don't know. I'm probably forgetting some players there too, because obviously you still got Josh Giddey. They'd have to move. I don't know. But I do love his fit there. I think this is an excellent trade. And the Nets getting that kind of value for Claxton is great for them as well. The Magic finally add some more shooting, get Bogdanovic from the Hawks, and the Hawks are getting Jonathan Isaac in a first-round pick. Obviously, the Bogdanovic deal with Atlanta hasn't worked out great either. So if they get a first-round pick for him, I think that's fine value. And I think the Magic have an excellent roster, very good defensively. They could use the shooting and the scoring, especially from that guard position. I love this trade for the Magic from the Hawks. It's fine value. The 76ers get Bruce Brown, and they send off their expiring, finally, of Marcus Morris, Jaden Springer, and 2 second-round picks. Excellent trade for the 76ers, although I would say, why are you buying in when Joel Embiid is going to miss the rest of the season. Now, I don't think Bruce Brown is actually under contract next season. He may be, though. So he has a team option for next season, $23 million. That'll likely get picked up. So if the 76ers do this trade, I guess it's more of a trade for next year. And now you have another guy, very nice defensive guard / wing 2 to pair next to Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid. I think it'd be a very nice fit for that team. Love the trade for the Sixers. For the Raptors, it's not as good as getting the first round pick that you got in some of these other trades, but it's fine. It's fine. We have the Phoenix Suns getting Miles Bridges, Charlotte Hornets receiving Nasir Little, Josh Okogie, and 3 second-round picks. That's too much value for Miles Bridges because he should be in jail. Moving on, the Portland Trailblazers are getting Evan Fournier, Quentin Grimes, and a first-round pick from Malcolm Brogdon. Again, similar trade to what we saw earlier with the Knicks. They're getting another piece that can help them win right now. Malcolm Brogdon is an excellent player, having an excellent season. And I do think this is fine value for the Trailblazers. I like this trade for both teams. My camera is about to die, so let's keep it rolling until it does. The Sacramento Kings are getting Kyle Kuzma. The Wizards are getting Harrison Barnes, Davion Mitchell, and a first-round pick. This is fine value for the Wizards. The Kings could start another 4, puts a bonus at the 5. This is fine for both teams. We got the Spurs getting Chuma Okeke, second-round pick. The Magic get Jetty Osman, irrelevant trade. The Raptors are getting Davis Bertans at the first-round pick. Thunder get Bruce Brown, some more help, championship experience guard / wing to help their team. I do like this trade for the Thunder. They got to make a move. The Jazz receiving Markelle Fultz on a first-round pick for Jordan Clarkson. Excellent trade for the Jazz. Jordan Clarkson is getting a bit older. That team is not good now. They should be getting more assets. Fultz is still a nice young piece and a first-round pick. This is great. And the Magic are getting that score that we were talking about earlier. I love it. The Wizards are receiving Gabe Vincent, Maxwell Lewis, and a first-round pick. The Lakers get Tyus Jones. The Lakers could use a facilitating guard like Tyus Jones. I think he fits better than D'Angelo Russell, who could facilitate a little bit. Let me not disrespect him. But this is a nice trade, and the Lakers are able to get off Gabe Vincent, who obviously hasn't been healthy. And if all the Lakers got to do is give off a first-round pick and they get to keep D'Lo in this deal, it really adds some more depth to the Lakers. So I do like that trade a lot. Well, that's the last trade in this article. Before the camera dies, make sure to like, subscribe, check out the vlog from the Heat game that I posted yesterday, and I'll be around all trade deadline for more content. So I'll see y'all next time. Peace out.
Look, pull up in your city tryna get that dead face. Do it on my own, I don't need no dead weight. Had to kill him off, yeah, I need a head space. You know this homegrown bitch don't offend me.